While You Were Sleeping, Episodes 19 Part 1 Inch. This is a surprisingly feel-good hour, despite the number of times I cried. It's one of those laugh-cry-laugh situations where you just feel all of the feelings and then it's over, and you have no idea how you did so many emotional cartwheels back to back. This show is definitely at its best when our characters' lives hang in the balance. Too bad for them, yay for us. Episode 19, Boy Meets Girl. The Olympic archer's father sticks his hunting rifle out his car window and guns Jae-chan down in the street, right in front of Hongju's eyes. As she runs over to him in a panic, the archer's father speeds away looking determined, and we see that the set of pictures that Yubong gave him also feature Woo-tak and Hak-young. Not Batman. As Jae-chan gets loaded onto the ambulance, Woo-tak's partner arrives and Hongju gives him the license plate of the shooter, but has already caught up to Woo-tak and Hak-young, who have just had a round of drinks together. They start to cross the street when the archer's father spots them and speeds up, aiming to run them over. Woo-tak sees the car first and pushes Hak-young out of the way, and they fall over in the crosswalk just in time to not get hit. But the old man sees that he missed and turns his car around, and this time the boys are helplessly lying on the ground as the car speeds toward them and just before they become roadkill, police cars cut off the car's path and surround the shooter on all sides. Oh phew. Woo-tak's partner checks to make sure he's okay, and then the cops close in on the shooter, but by the time they open the car door, he's unconscious. Hongju runs alongside the gurney in tears as Jae-chan gets wheeled into the emergency room. She's beside herself with worry, and he fades in and out of consciousness, seeing her crying and pleading by his side as the doctors work on him. He thinks back to their youth and says to himself, "You were Chestnut. Why didn't I recognize you? There's something I want to say to you, more than I never forgot that day 13 years ago, more than I'm happy to see you again. Something I want to say more than that and I'm sorry." And in that moment, he flatlines. Hongju wails for him not to die, and he thinks to himself that he shouldn't have said those things. He remembers that day on the subway platform when he told Hongju that he wouldn't take responsibility for his dreams, refusing to carry the guilt of not being able to change the future. He thinks now that it was a hurtful thing to say to someone who had carried this guilt her whole life, and he regrets it. If this is the end, I worry that you'll blame yourself again endlessly, he thinks. He imagines himself just smiling and accepting her umbrella that day, and says to himself that it's what he should have done. "No, I have to tell you that I'm sorry," he decides, and as a tear trickles down his face, his pulse returns on the monitor. The doctor tells the team to prep for surgery, and Hongju finally begins to breathe again. News of the shooting gets broadcast, and Mom drops everything and runs out of the restaurant. Yubum sees the same news and looks conflicted. It's hard to know with him. Outside the operating room, someone paces frantically, and seeing a doctor run past them with more bags of blood just brings on a fresh bout of tears. Woo-tak tries to get him to sit down, though he doesn't listen. Hongju's hands are trembling, but she looks over at someone and makes a decision. She holds his hand and brings him over to the bench, where she says gently that his bruised face is going to make his brother more worried than he is. Ugh, this is the part that's making me cry, her being a mom to him. She heads out to get bandages, and on her way back she looks down at her shaking hands and remembers how Shed insisted to her mom that she could change the future. Mom finds her like this in the lobby, and Hongju cries, "You were right, I couldn't change it. No, I did change it. I changed it and it got worse." She breaks down, asking Mom what if Jae-chan ends up like Dad, and Mom holds her as she sobs. Mom tells her not to think that way, but Hongju cries that the surgery won't end. Thankfully Woo-tak comes running up to tell them that the surgery just ended and Jae-chan will be okay. Hongju grabs his sleeves and makes sure he's not lying to her, and when he reassures her again, relief washes over her and she faints. Woo-tak picks her up in his arms and carries her back. At the prosecutor's office, Hyang-mi divides up Jae-chan's caseload among the other office managers, who are all in shock over the shooting. They comment that it's not even America, wondering how he got a gun. God, what an embarrassing but true point of reference. They say that it was a personal hunting rifle that was supposed to be stored at the local police station. Hyang-mi suddenly bursts into tears, clearly worried about Jae-chan, but she pretends that they're happy tears about dumping her work onto everyone else. Hongju wakes up in bed to Mom hovering over her in worry. Hongju's only thought is to race back to the hospital, but Mom says Jae-chan is in recovery and they aren't allowed in until visiting hours start, so she makes her eat breakfast. Mom hands her the ring box that Jae-chan had on him at the time of the shooting, saying that someone passed it along, and asks how Jae-chan knew her nickname was Chestnut. That's news to Hongju since she never told him, and then she opens the ring box to find a post-it inside. It's the note she wrote and left behind in the hospital 13 years ago, which Jae-chan has kept all this time. Oh. Little Jae-chan opens his eyes in the hospital, and little Hongju is there beside him with tears in her eyes. He says, "It was you, Chestnut." He reaches out to touch her face and asks why he didn't recognize her sooner. And then the scene morphs into their adult counterparts, as Jae-chan asks if she remembers him. He sheds a tear as he tells her, "I missed you, for a very long time." She says she was scared to never wake up, and he finally gets to apologize for what he said to her at the subway platform. He caresses her face lovingly but then the scene morphs again and we see that it's actually the chief prosecutor host sitting at his bedside, looking very uncomfortable at Jae-chan's confession. LOL.